Hello, welcome to this video. This video is continuation of the multiple file upload series, and we will see how to access the individual files we uploaded as part of multiple file uploads, and how to display the data sets and the summary stats corresponding to the individual files we uploaded. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So I upload air quality and the other data set. Okay, you can see these two files are already uploaded, and I have a select input here where I can choose which file I want to select and show the data set. So initially when the app loads, I've got air data quality CSV file loaded, and if we go to the dataset tab, we can see the dataset corresponding to air quality data and also the summary stats. Now if I want to show the dataset corresponding to another file, I will select the other file here, and you can see that the summary stats is already changed. The dataset tab is also showing the data corresponding to the file selected. So how did we do this, right? The way we do this is using the input file data object. Remember, I told you in earlier videos that the temporary file location of the file plays an important role. All we need to do is we need to tell R that, okay, I selected this file. Go to the location where the file name is outcome of care measures. So logically what we are doing is we are going to this data frame. This data frame input file object data frame, we are accessing data path variable or column, and we are saying that from this data path variable select that particular line or row, or in other terms that particular path where the file name corresponds to the selected file from the select input widget, and that's what we are going to see in our code. And then later on from the server.r, I am basically pretty much fetching the data. After this logic, I'm fetching the data and displaying in the data set and the summary stats tab. So let's get back to the code. In UIR, we pretty much have the sidebar layout UI, the file input, help text in widget, checkbox input. Here is the select input widget which is coming from server.r, and also the tabs which are coming from server.r. Note that I'm not displaying the tab and the select input widget until the file loads. That's why I've put it as render UI. In the server.r, the file df output object is nothing but it's a render table function. Within that I have put a logic that if there is no file, then don't return anything. If there is a file, then return this object, and that's what this object is returning. It's a data frame object. Here it's returning the attributes of the files that we have uploaded. Next, I'm just showing so this helps in understanding. File df2 is basically where I have extracted the path of those files. Again, the logic is if no files are uploaded, return nothing, and if there is a file, then go to that object. Input $file is our object. How? You see here, file is the ID in file input widget. So I'm calling that input dollar file. I'm accessing that object. In that object, we have a variable called data path. So I'm saying go to that object. From that object, go to data path variable and pull whatever is there. So that's how we are getting here the values or the temporary paths stored in data path. Now we can access this, and that's what I have done. This function is pretty much displaying the structure of the file, input file object, this tab. So just to show that there are 4 variables: name, size, type, data path. And then comes the select input widget, which we have the render UI. If no file is selected, return nothing. If file is selected, then through the select input, the choices are going to be input dollar file, once again that file input object, and this time I want to access the name variable. Name variable is the one which will give me the names of the files. The names of the files. Then we are reading the file. How we are reading? We are reading the file saying read.table file is equal to, now I have to give the file path. So how I'm giving the file path? I'm saying input dollar file, go to that object, access the data path column. Okay, data path column has got 2 file paths. Which file we need to choose? Now here I'm giving the logic saying input dollar file dollar name, where the file name is equal to the file selected by the user. So whatever is selected here will be matched in this data frame, and the corresponding file path is returned, and that particular file is going to be read using read.table, and that's how we can display either the summary stats or the actual dataset. In this particular function, I am displaying the summary stats, and similarly we can display the actual dataset here.